What happens when the truth you're given doesn't line up with the truth you see? That is the question haunting America tonight. A conservative leader has been gunned down. A young man now faces the ultimate punishment. And yet, as each new detail comes to light, the story becomes more fractured, more unsettling, more impossible to trust. From the very beginning, this case has carried the weight of spectacle. Headlines screamed, commentators rushed to declare guilt, prosecutors moved forward with unusual speed, and the FBI presented its evidence as if the matter were already closed. But was it? Or did the system decide on its story first and only later try to fit the evidence into it? Stay with us, because every piece of this story you think you know is about to be questioned. And if you haven't already, subscribe now. This is one of those stories that twists and turns at every angle, and you'll want to follow along to the very end. Charlie Kirk was not just another man. He was a political lightning rod, a voice that drew massive crowds and fierce opposition. To some, he was a patriot. To others, a provocateur. But no matter what you thought of him, his sudden death shocked the nation. The scene unfolded at a rally. Hundreds of people gathered, cameras rolling, security on high alert. Yet somehow, a gunman slipped through, fired, and vanished into the chaos. Within hours, a name appeared: Tyler Robinson, a student, a man with no history of political violence. And suddenly, his face was everywhere. The suspect, the killer, the one the FBI promised had been caught. But here is where the story begins to crack, because from the very beginning, the evidence they offered was shaky. The FBI photos were supposed to shut down all doubt. They were supposed to prove beyond question that Tyler Robinson was the shooter. But when those images hit the public, the reaction was the opposite. His family looked at them and said, "That isn't him." They pointed to the jawline, the stance, the way the figure walked. None of it matched Tyler as they knew him. And the more people looked, the more doubt spread. Side-by-side comparisons appeared online. Analysts began breaking down the frames. And what they saw raised disturbing questions. The photos were grainy, distorted, cropped in ways that hid more than they revealed. Had the FBI rushed, or worse, had they manipulated the images to fit their narrative? We've seen it before. In moments of national panic, the demand for a suspect outweighs the demand for certainty. A blurry photo becomes a conviction. A shaky video becomes proof. And once that story takes hold, it's nearly impossible to undo. So we ask again. If the very foundation of the case, the FBI's photographic evidence, is under doubt, what does that mean for everything else? This is why you should stay tuned, why you should subscribe, because the cracks in this case don't stop with photos, they go far deeper. And then came Candace Owens. For some, she is a truth teller. For others, she is a provocateur. But in this case, she has played a pivotal role. She took to her platform with bold claims. She insisted that in a critical video, Tyler Robinson never said the word vehicle. She used this as evidence that the case against him was built on distortion. But when the uncut clip emerged, there it was, clear, he had said it. Candace had simply cut it out. Why? Why alter something so small unless it threatened to unravel a larger narrative? And once you catch someone reshaping reality, even in a minor way, it forces you to question everything else they present. But Candace pressed forward. She claimed she had a source who swore that the text messages allegedly sent from Tyler to his boyfriend were fabricated, entirely fictionalized, not written by him. If true, this would mean the state is relying on evidence that was manufactured. But if false, it means Candace is pushing conspiracy in one of the most sensitive trials in American history. So which is it? Do we have a frame-up at the highest level of government, or do we have commentators twisting the narrative for clicks, for clout, for influence? And perhaps the darker question, what if both things are true? Meanwhile, Tyler Robinson's legal defense has raised eyebrows for another reason entirely. This is not a team of ordinary lawyers. This is a dream team. High-profile attorneys with national reputations, legal powerhouses whose fees run into the millions. So again, who is paying them? The Robinson family is not wealthy. These attorneys don't work for free. So where is the money coming from? Some speculate political donors have stepped in, seeing Tyler's case as bigger than one man. Others whisper that powerful individuals are backing him in secret, hoping to expose flaws in the justice system. Or still others suggest something stranger, that the defense itself is part of the stage, meant to ensure this case becomes not just a trial, but a spectacle. And until the truth of that funding is revealed, the shadow over this defense will not lift. But here is where the stakes become chilling. Prosecutors are not simply asking for a conviction, they are asking for death. The death penalty. That means Tyler Robinson, if found guilty, will not spend life behind bars. He will face execution. And the death penalty is unlike any other punishment because it requires certainty, absolute certainty. No doubts, no contradictions, no manipulated evidence. Because if the system is wrong, it does not just steal years, it steals a life, permanently, irreversibly. And so we must ask, can anyone with honesty say there is certainty in this case? When the photos are disputed, when the text messages are contested, when even commentators manipulate evidence? Or are we watching a trial where the outcome was written before the evidence was even gathered? If you feel the weight of that question, then don't look away. Subscribe and keep listening, because this trial will test not just one man's fate, but the integrity of the entire justice system. And in the midst of all this legal chaos, there are families caught in unbearable pain. Charlie Kirk's family grieves. His wife especially has faced relentless scrutiny. Some point out how quickly she returned to public life. To some, it looked too fast. To others, it was strength. But here lies a truth we often forget. Grief is not uniform. For one person, grief is silence. For another, it is action. For some, it is tears behind closed doors. For others, it is the determination to keep moving forward. We cannot dictate how a widow mourns. And yet, in this case, this public, the whispers do not stop. Then there is Tyler Robinson's family, watching as their son, their brother, is painted as a monster, watching as prosecutors seek his life, watching as evidence they believe is false is paraded as fact. Two families, two narratives, both grieving in different ways, and a nation caught in the middle. All of this now lands in one place, the courtroom. Presiding over the trial is Judge Tony Greff, newly appointed only weeks into his role, and yet suddenly thrust into one of the most watched trials in America. Every ruling he makes, every motion he considers, every decision from the bench watched, recorded, analyzed, dissected. It is a pressure few could bear. But for Greff, there is no choice. He must steer a case that could set precedent, ignite political firestorms, and determine whether a young man lives or dies. And the truth is, the weight of this trial does not rest on him alone. It rests on all of us. Because this is not just about Tyler Robinson. It is not just about Charlie Kirk. It is about what justice means when politics, media, and public outrage collide. And so we end this segment with a question that should haunt you. Is Tyler Robinson truly guilty, or has he become a symbol, a scapegoat, in a story that was written long before he ever entered the courtroom? And if the system can shape truth in this case, how many times has it shaped truth in cases we never even heard about? The trial is far from over, the questions are far from answered, and the truth, whatever it may be, remains buried beneath layers of politics, media spin, and manipulation. Stay tuned, because what comes next will not only test one man's fate, but our ability to believe in justice itself. And if you haven't already, subscribe now. You will not want to miss what we uncover next.